Namaste, it's the Spiritual Daywalker with your tarot card reading for this new moon phase, and it is eclipse season. So Libra, well, watching others going through hard times can give you a hard time. You're very balanced right now, so I really get the feeling that it's about the experience of others. Sometimes all you can do is be there, right? Especially with the solar eclipse in, I believe it's Scorpio, right? That means like going deep into motivations and emotions and the yin and yang of things and all that stuff, like profound realizations, being true to yourself and all that. If someone else in your reality is going through that, they have to go through that alone. Everybody faces death alone, and well, that is Queens of the Stone Age, I believe, right? Maybe they stole it from somewhere else. However, death is the card for Scorpio in the tarot. So that is very, like, even though we have a lot of, well, help and support in those times from others, essentially the emotion is something we have to experience alone. So this is where you can only be a bystander. That's not exactly the best feeling, and then that triggers your own individual emotional journey, you know. However, it is a general reading, so if that doesn't resonate with you, feel free to drop the message. If the message does resonate with you, drop a comment, like and subscribe, all that stuff. I'm holding this so high, so I now want to see what it is. Three of Cups in reverse. About sharing emotions, right? And not being able to share emotions. Maybe it's about community, but for you, I get the sense that talking about emotions is necessary, but not exactly easy right now. We'll see how that pops up in your reading. I kind of get the sense that there has to be a talk, you know, maybe not the talk about the dynamic, but maybe just like a sit down. Let's see how this is coming up in your reading. We're going to do the DNA spread. That is like a Tree of Life spread, but with the soul axis in the middle, the soul coming into manifestation, and the energies balancing around it. So in the spot of the one, of the 0 of Keter, your soul spot, that's a 10 of Wands. That is you taking on too much. It's too much passion, too many different things you're passionate to take care of, that you overburden yourself. And a 10 of Wands for me, more often than not, feels like you want to, like, it's not just your burden here, right? So, but it's, I mean, like, it's in the soul spot. So there are no negative cards in the soul spot. Like, there's no negative cards in tarot whatsoever. It's just like the type of energy we're confronted with, right? So nothing is negative. Energy is always positive, especially though in the soul spot, because this is the decision your soul made on what to embrace. So if you want to embrace the 10 of Wands, that means you got the capacity for it, right? You want to take that burden off someone else's shoulders. It's also a card for reward, right? It's like you're taking care of a lot of things, and maybe your soul decided that this taking care of other people's burdens and taking care of all these things at once is kind of coming to a close. So you're closing out that cycle, which is often, well, which is kind of related to a reward, right? At the very least, the feeling of relief. So your soul is going for that reward right here, for that feeling of relief, and releasing that energy of taking on other people's shit. I believe in the last reading was that you were like very in your own power, very grounded within yourself. Beautiful reading. So now this 10 of Wands is like in a very good light, right? Where you're like, okay, maybe you got enough taking on other people's shit. Maybe you have to take care of your own shit. Let's see how you're manifesting this. In the spot of the 9, that is what this is all about, is a 4 of Coins. So your challenge is to generate stability in your life, or to, well, yeah, to gain and maintain structure in your life, when, like, your composure. that composure I was speaking about from the last reading, where you're like, ah, man, I've been in such a good place, and I don't want this solar eclipse kind of transition to fuck it all up. That kind of challenge. I see you're going to manage well. I feel like the Ten of Wands that is culminating in a Four of Coins. Let's see how you're manifesting this, but I get a strong feeling that you're going to manage well. Four of Swords in reverse. Yeah. Um, it is struggling with hard times. It's pulling through hard times, right? Um, Four of Swords is holding on to a mindset that gives you a sense of stability, right? So four is about stability and control, and Swords is about mind energy. So that in reverse is like your belief system is challenged here, and you're trying to keep your reality together. Interesting. That is very interesting. Let's dive deeper into the reading, so we'll see how the energy revolves around this. Because, like, I'm actually glad that the Four of Coins is in the 9, because that's more of an internal realization, and the 10 is what you're manifesting. So what you're manifesting is a change of mind, of not needing the idea of security so much, right? And that is, or in a sense, trying to maintain that inner peace, right, that you're coming in with. So this is you're manifesting that shifting within you, like gaining clarity about how you, like, what belief systems you're working with, and what belief systems are challenged through the things around you, all that stuff. So it's an internal shift that you're manifesting, which is good, because the Four of Coins in reverse in your manifestation would be losing funds. But this is not exactly the case, I get. It is more about your inner peace being challenged here. All right, let's see what is getting you moving, like the thing triggering you into dealing with that Ten of Wands energy. It's a Three of Wands. That is conviction. Three of Wands, I mean, like, people generally see it as a good card. Well, like I said, there are only good cards in tarot. Energy is always positive, but the Three of Wands is having a strong belief. Like a 3 is a strong sense, a strong insight you have that is giving you forward motion. That to me is the 3. And Wands is fire energy. So it's like, I'm gonna do this. Fuck it. I'm gonna build this, you know? And sometimes someone gets burned in the process. We'll see who gets burned in this process. We'll see. We'll see. I actually thought about my own tarot deck. I don't know if I should disclose this here. Maybe that's, oh man, you're an air sign. Maybe that's exactly the nerd shit you need. I thought about my own deck, the Three of Wands, somehow depicting what's it called, the hill that Jesus got crucified on, right? Because it's, and bear with me here, that is being so convicted and passionate that you would kill for something, even a so-called savior, right? I'm not trying to get too biblical about it, and not trying to challenge anyone's religion right here. It's just that this is being so ambitious about taking something further out, about pushing an idea through, that you don't even think about trying to defend it. You just get rid of the competition. Now that kind of ambition is sort of in that Three of Wands. So how does that relate to you here? It's either you see someone get burned and you're like, well, this is too much for me to handle, or you see how yourself are so convicted to keeping your inner peace that you feel like you have to let them suffer, in a sense, right? So it can, like, for you it flips into a good thing, into like, I see that you're in pain, but I'm sorry, I cannot take any more of that shit, right? So that can also be it. That's also someone getting burned or discarded in the process. All right, I'm kind of sorry for that discourse here. Sorry, not sorry. Probably had to come out, but that Three of Wands, maybe I'll just make a reel about it, about that idea. Um, well, if you find it interesting, or if you find it well misplaced, put it in the comments. Now let's see how this Three of Wands is balanced out on the other hand. Queen of Cups in reverse is like, yeah. Queen of Cups is the card for love and affection and emotional nurturing. So it can be, get the strong sense that it is a person for you, right? Because you're a Libra, right? It's like about about harmony and social structures for you most of the time. And that Queen of Cups in reverse can mean both. Either someone is not exactly emotionally available, or you are not, right? Or both. When you're like, okay, if this is how you want to play it, then I'm not opting for this game. You know, I got my own shit to worry about here. You know, this is hard for me too. That kind of idea, right? Where you're coming from a Three of Wands and is met with a Queen of Cups in reverse, where you're like, I know we all feel like we need to trust that this is all for the better. I don't know why I get a strong sense of like, yeah, well, something is stirring you up right here, and it's confirmed. Like the solar eclipse is stirring things up. Definitely, it's leveling the playing field for us to build something new. And the Four of Swords in your manifestation kind of means you have to weather that storm. So that's where this idea of having to pull through something is coming from. And with that perspective on a Three of Wands and a Queen of Cups in reverse is like, you're very passionate about not being emotionally available, or about someone not being emotionally available, right? So it's like, be careful not to, well, you're withdrawing your love in a sense, right? Be careful not to withdraw your compassion, right? Even if you're like, okay, I can't handle this right now, like I've got to take care of my own inner peace, I don't have the capacity for it anymore, this is just too much, this is like 10 of Wands energy for me, you know? And you're very passionate about not playing that game. Be careful that you're not so closed off that you're lacking compassion, right? Because love and compassion are closely linked, but it's not the same thing, right? Love, or like, especially in a romantic relationship, it doesn't have to be romantic though, right? It can be very much in a business sense, where you feel not appreciated for the commitment and the work you put in, right? Where you're coming from a Three of Wands, where I'm like, fuck that shit, I'm just doing my thing here. And whether you feel like you want to bitch about it or whatever, pardon my French, then, well, that's your shit, I don't care, right? So that Three of Wands is very much disregarding other people's opinions, especially when meeting a Queen of Cups in reverse. Now let's see what you're gaining from this. And I still get the feeling that it's positive, that it's healthy for you to draw a line in the sand here, especially when that Queen of Cups is someone else that is withdrawing their love because they have a lot of shit to deal with, and you're like, well, we're not playing this game here, you know? It's like, I see where you're coming from, I see where you're getting at, and fuck this, you know? So that is like having compassion without giving your love, you know, without giving it your too much energy, right? It's drawing a line in the sand. Now let's see in the spot of the three, we're talking ages already. Let's see in the spot of the three, what you're gaining from this, the Three of Cups in reverse, like I said, like the way emotions are shared right here in this situation is not to your liking. So it is about love withdrawal or emotional unavailability from the people around you. Three of Cups is community communication in terms of communicating your feelings, being open about them, yada yada yada. And it seems like you've had enough of this either not happening or happening to a degree where it just burdens you, right? Something is out of whack with that water energy, and you're like, I'm in my Three of Wands right here, fuck this shit, you know? So let's see in the spot of the Four, the idea that gives you stability, your fallback idea, is a Seven of Wands in reverse. That's exactly the continuation of that Three of Wands is the Seven of Wands, like not wanting to fight, not wanting to argue, right? Seven of Wands is a card for defending your ideas and pulling, like fighting for them at any means necessary. And if in your fallback feeling where you're like, this is what gives me comfort, the idea that gives you comfort is a Seven of Wands in reverse. Is like, I don't have to fight for this, right? I don't have to explain myself to you. Fuck that, right? I don't have to defend my ideas, especially if you're withdrawing your love from me. If you're not emotionally available, I don't have to carry that weight. I don't have to break you to get through to you. Like, if you don't want to share, you don't want to share, so fucking be it, right? That kind of idea, right? So you are trying to maintain your inner peace in a very passionate manner here, which is not exactly the Buddha kind of way, but sometimes it seems necessary. Just make sure that you're not accidentally burning someone in the process, where you just want to draw a line in the sand, that you're not repelling them, but stopping them. Does that make sense for you? It's like you say, until here, no further, right? Compared to um, pushing them further back, right? Nevertheless, in the spot of the Five, so the thing that is challenging that conviction and causing change, in a sense, is a Strength in reverse. It's like, yeah, it is a challenge. Well, challenging you is that it is a challenge. Makes sense, but it makes even more sense when you think about it, because that is exactly talking about trying to defend your inner peace with aggression. Does that make sense? It's like it's oxymoronic. It's a paradox in a sense, right? So it costs you a lot of energy to trying to preserve your energy. That's not exactly healthy, right? That's what I mean with trying not to push them away. Just try to really embrace the Seven of Wands in reverse, where you're like, I don't want to fight for this. You know, if you're not ready to talk about it, you're not ready to talk about it. But make sure that you're not angry about it, because that's costing you energy. But that's the challenge here for you, because you're very passionate about it. Like, you want to help, you want it to be harmonious, and to let someone sit with their own pain is not exactly easy for you, right? Libra, that is that challenge here. But this idea is changing, right? And it's strength. I mean, it's a Leo energy. It's like you fighting fire with fire, right? Fighting someone that is withdrawn in their water energy with your own fiery. Well, okay, then we're not talking about it. Fuck that, you know. And that's, you're kind of adopting that energy of not being emotionally available by answering it that way. So it makes sense. It comes from a good idea of trying to preserve your energy. Just make sure that you're actually preserving your energy and not wasting it in the process, if that makes sense. And the spot of the Seven, that is your sense of identity. That is a Three of Swords. Like I said, Three of Swords is the card for protecting your heart. It's a card for heartbreak in most cases. So someone is withdrawing your love and breaking your heart in the process, right? Um, but more abstractly speaking, it's a strong sense of a mindset you have, right, and that you're not able to move away from, that you're sticking to. So it's the Three of Wands for mind energy, right? It's that conviction towards a mindset that you think you need to have or that you just got stuck on, right? And that is in the spot of the Seven. That's the way it's well, it's hurting you, right? Not being able to help, them being withdrawn, them not sharing their emotions with you, you not being able to create balance. That is hurting you. You're like, you're heartbroken, right? And it's not easy for you to draw that line in the sand. You feel heartbroken because that that there is that emotion missing, and you're like, you know what, fuck that, don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it. But you kind of sit with this Three of Swords energy right here, which is uncomfortable. Right? Very uncomfortable. um Now let's see how this is balanced on the other hand, because it seems like what you're manifesting here is getting more and more into like worry. We'll see. The spot of the Eight, the idea that opens you up to abundance. It's the Page of Cups. It's new love coming in, which is interesting. It's not exactly about new love coming in. For some, it might be, yes. For some, it's like the very thing that you're like, you're saying no to one person or one situation or one way of loving, where you're like, okay, whatever this is not for me. Fuck that shit. And the moment you do that, you for a love offering is coming in. For others, it means you are missing your playfulness and lightheartedness, so you're trying to preserve that, right? So the Page of Cups is very much the inner child that is vulnerable and fragile and playful, loving, and just wants to do right, that kind of deal. And it's facing a Three of Swords, so that is a person that has broken your heart and is challenging that playfulness, right? But preserving that Page of Cups, harboring your inner child, protecting your inner child, is what's going to open you up to abundance. And that's that Four of Swords in reverse, where you're like, it's tough for you to not be hurt by this. It's tough for you to not feel hurt by this withdrawal of love, even though you see the bigger picture. I believe it's still a challenge to keep your calm in this, because you're not exactly calm about this, because you feel heartbroken about it, right? It's it's okay, right? A Three of Swords is often accompanied with a Three of Wands, right? It's that um, your best friend saying, you know what, they're not worth it anyways. That is a Three of Swords meeting a Three of Wands, right? That is your disregard and like a sort of narcissistic behavior trying to save what's left of your confidence, right? As a Three of Swords meeting a Three of Wands is like, you know what, they're not worth it, fuck them. So it makes sense, and sometimes that's just the right thing to say or the right energy to be in, but it's self-preservation, right? It's very much survival, emotional survival instinct, and not exactly dharma, right? Not the inner peace you're actually trying to preserve. It's just trying to shield you from losing more energy here. Fair enough. It is a beautiful reading because you're very determined to stick to your plan of shielding your heart. That is it's a beautiful thing to look for, right? Um, and the Page of Cups in manifestation is usually a very good thing, right? So if you manage to open up, to be that inner child, like to not give to the Three of Swords energy, like get away from the idea that that this is breaking your heart, because they don't, well, they mean well. What whoever this is or whatever is happening in your reality, maybe you're disappointed with the universe, but if you get stuck on a Three of Swords, then you're hurting, of course, right? Mm. But the more you get away from this and look towards that Page of Cups, that is your trust and knowing that something new is coming in, right? Knowing that, like, you're like loving your heart, loving your inner child. This practice, this is what's gonna ease that pain or ease that ambition into truly preserving energy, right? And not just trying to fend it off, right? Because before you know it, you are in the Seven of Wands without wanting to be, right? Like, if you have to say that you give a shit, most likely you're not truly giving a shit, right? Because if you would give a shit truly, you would say nothing at all. So that's kind of the issue here, right? So your challenge is to, with that Four of Coins, um, to preserve that stability and the structure in your life. Maybe keep things together, even though it feels like the love is absent, which probably is due to other people going through their shit. You know, this can relate to relationship and business relationship, right? Where you're like, why the fuck are you even here if you don't care? You know, if you don't care, I don't care either, especially not about your shit. You know, it translates to every possible situation. Whatever pops into your mind, um, that is it for you. Let's see in the spot of the six. That is the last card, and like an insight you're gaining from the Page of Cups battling that heartbreak here. That's the insight you get that's gonna make you feel a little lighter about it. The Four of Cups in reverse. It's not putting up with the emotional bullshit anymore. Like, it feels like you're very gaslight proof right now. That is good, right? You're not gonna be gaslit. You're not gonna be feeling bad about, like, or like be guilt tripped into feeling bad about something. You're more in that energy of like not wanting to put up with the Four of Cups anymore. Four of Cups is discontentment, right? Is you are heartbroken that you have to go through this lack of emotional availability and through this lack of love, which doesn't exactly have to be like a lack of love. Most of the time, when we feel the other person is lacking love, then they're just not capable of showing it in that moment. They're going through some shit, right? And yeah, but something feels off, and you're right, it is off. They're not there. Even though they say they are, they might sit at the table and pretend like everything's fine, but you don't feel them right now. That's because they're worrying, because they have closed off their emotions because something else is on their mind. And even though that kind of hurts you in a way where you're like, this is not supposed to, like, this is not how you're supposed to act. Like, you have to know that this is hurting me, right? That's your mind speaking, right? Your mind speaking about matters of the heart. It's like, you have to see that this is hurting me. How can you not see that? And on the other hand, is that gentle-hearted, compassionate Page of Cups where you're like, I see. You actually cannot see that right now because you're not there emotionally, because you're closed off to yourself. So I know where you're coming from, but I'm still not gonna engage in this type of emotion. If you need to go through this, I'm here if you need to talk, but what I'm not gonna do is play that game with you. Fuck that. I'm in my Three of Wands right here. I'm not gonna fight about it. I just make sure that I care about the structure, right? Care about, if putting food on the table or whatever, or like, uh, I don't know, going to the laundry, or like however you can help, right? Keeping the place tidy when they're not available and not able to care about preserving their reality, whatever it is that you're sharing here. Um, like if all you can do is tidy up the place, then do that. You're gonna feel good about it, but don't expect them to recognize it. Do it because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing for you to do, and just know that it's gonna help the situation. But don't expect a thank you. You're probably not gonna get it right now because they're not there, right? So like I get the strong sense that this is about another person simply because you're Libra, but very much it translates to your own inner world, right? So whether or not you're a loner or you're very, well, Libra being a loner, unlikely, but whether or not you're a loner or um, resonating with this in terms of relationship, it is about you trying to preserve your inner peace or preserve your energy without the mere act costing you more of that energy, because that's not the idea, right? So it's a very beautiful reading because you are strong and you're not playing the game anymore. You're not getting sucked into someone else's bullshit, right? So it's a very beautiful energy to have when you're weathering a storm, like a Four of Swords, where you're um, like always looking towards that light at the end of the tunnel, where you're like, I know it's there. Even if I can see it yet, I know it's there. It's gonna be there. And I just like have to stand strong with what I believe in and make sure that I'm balanced here, right? Like if your challenge is the Four of Coins, it also means that you're taking care of the structures that you need in place for you to balance yourself, right? To not catch fire, so to speak, to not burn out or catch someone else's fire, right? So try. Anger is a beautiful way of protecting yourself, or is a beautiful emotion because it protects yourself, right? But it's of course not the energy you want to give up. It give off. It's if you need anger to protect yourself, you're wasting energy. It is the last resort of your ego pulling up the defenses, right? So if you, I'm gonna say, like, if you get angry, you probably have all the reason to get angry, right? It's normal, it's okay. But when you realize you're getting angry, you have to realize that this is not where you want to be. Like you probably are like you probably are right in what you're saying, but anger is not going to get you all the way there. Anger is just shielding you. And I get that um, you don't have to too much. For you, it's more the disregard. It's more like, if this is how you want to play it, fuck you, right? And that's not costing you a lot of energy, but it's still hardening you in a sense, right? It's still like hardening your heart. And you don't want that to do. So this is the contrast that you're manifesting, is you're fluctuating between um, being closed off because you want to shield your heart and wanting to be open and sharing and loving and caring. But what you're not going to do is play that game of discontentment. You're not going to pretend like nothing's up, but you're not going to engage into uh, in the bullshit either. So it's a very beautiful energy, Libra. You are strong right here because it doesn't seem easy, and I got the strong sense that you're again trying to ride out someone else's bullshit here. You're not gonna get sucked into it. You're very well equipped for whatever it is that you're carrying here, and yeah, just make sure that you're not gonna get stuck on the heartbreak, and that you loosen that Three of Swords energy with the compassion that with forgiveness, in a sense, right? Forgive them because they don't know what they do, right? Or something like that. So you're well equipped for whatever it is you're going through here. You're not making compromises with your energy, really. You're very determined to keep it as peaceful as possible, and you're going to manage. I mean, you got a page of cups that you're manifesting here, right? So there is a lot of love around. it's fragile, right? And it's a little scared to come out with all this bullshit going on. Fair enough. Libra, it's beautiful reading, I have to say. It's like your inner peace being tested, but you're well equipped. So enjoy this energy. Thank you so much for listening. If that resonated with you, drop a comment, like, and subscribe. Check out daywalker-bali.com. This is where my website, where I post all the projects that are coming up. I'm trying to keep up the content, no, I'm trying to really get it going now, because I've been working on the business presentation. So that's why I'm a little late, but it's gonna, like, I'm gonna weather the storm too in a different way. So yeah, stay tuned. It's gonna be fun, and enjoy this experience. Enjoy yourself staying strong in this. That's a good feeling, knowing that you can do that. Libra, thank you so much. I love you.